Hello there everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome to the first video on this channel, actually, brand new channel, Nub Raids, which is going to be all about Raid Shadow Legends. I'll do a proper intro video for this on the channel the next day or two, so you know who I am, what my plans are and all of that. Today's video though, I'm going to give you my initial thoughts, initial tips on the Hydra new clan boss, which just came out today. Tip number one, which if I jump in here, a lot of people in my clan have already got wrong. Watch out, be careful guys. You get 3 keys per week. This is not like the normal clan boss where they're constantly regenning. I actually need to use my normal clan boss keys. Whoops. This guy's going to be up for 7 days at a time for a full week, and you have the entire week to use your 3 keys. So I highly encourage you, wait a few days here. Do not do this yet. Wait. Build up your champions, keep working on things, and then maybe look to spend your keys on like Saturday or Sunday at the Saturday at the earliest, preferably more like Sunday or Monday or Tuesday even. Talk with your clan if your clan are communicating, and figure out what your plan is going to be. But don't rush to spend your keys. Okay, don't rush to spend them. Take your time. There is also a rotation for the Hydra. This, you don't need to worry about this. It's not going to be up for another month. But basically, when it rotates, it's going to change the starting heads and it will change their affinities as well. Let's take a look here. So this is why you have to watch out as well. So for normal difficulty, you actually have to beat normal to unlock the later difficulties, right? For normal, to get the best chest and the best rewards, you need to do 6.66 million damage. All right, the drop info drops good stuff like clan gold, which you can use to buy like accessories in the shop, which are quite good. It will drop this really overpowered legendary champion. It will take you a while to earn her, but you really want to get her. She is OP as heck, plus some artifacts and clan XP. So it's a nice chest. Obviously, you'll get 2 of them. If normal is defeated by your clan, it doubles the chest drops at the end of the week. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, look at this. So to get 6.66 million, you can see this thing is tough. This is no joke. Our clan here, the kind of low spenders, free to play, though a lot of them have been playing for a good few months, but they're really struggling. They're having a tough time. The Hydra is very difficult. It's very hard. He's used 3 keys, but he's not going to make the top reward. This is our best 1 key so far, which is only 3.5 million. So he'll have to pull out a second one of those pretty much to get the top reward. And you cannot use the same champions again. So you'll need 18 champions total. Which is a pretty big ask. It's definitely a big ask. You cannot use, so for example, Abika here, he can't use any of these champions again. He's used them for this key, probably his best team, and now he's got to find a second team. You might even take him 2 more keys to get that top chest. So let's dive in and let me explain what's actually happening. First of all, as you can see here, this will show you, it's kind of confusing because you got to know the pictures, which is a bit rough, but there are 2 heads that aren't going to be there initially. There's 6 potential heads right now. You'll fight 4 at the start. There is a chance when you kill a head that it will switch to one of these, but it can also just respawn the exact same head that you killed. And I believe that on normal difficulty, it's a very high chance to respawn the same head, and that as the difficulties keep increasing, it ups the chance to bring in the other 2. I actually think these other 2 are probably the harder 2 as well. So I guess they've given us a reasonably easy rotation here the first time, and it's still really hard. I'm going to bring in some teams here. These are obviously going to be, you know, these are my Hydra teams. These are the best teams I can possibly put out as a late game, mostly free-to-play player. I'd say mostly free-to-play. I'll talk more about it in the intro video, but I actually got into the game from sponsorships on my main channel to do some promo videos for Raid. And obviously as part of that, they gave some free resources to help, you know, showcase stuff a bit better, things like that. But yeah, I think this is probably my best team here. With Shamail being absolutely incredible. This is team 2, which I think is the medium team, and team 3 is I think my worst team. So I'll show you my worst team. You can see I'm still working on these champs, like Mother Cybel's level 50, he's 33. Half of these champs aren't booked at all. Their masteries are half done. So this is a pretty sketchy team. I'll show you them in all full detail at the end of the video if you want to get an idea for kind of how your team might compare if you were to put a similar one together. Do you have the same sort of gear? Are you more booked than my champs are, more mastery, that sort of thing? But let's dive in. Also, one thing to point out I have set them up to not use their big abilities, or like Sill's not going to use Wing Beat Flurry. I'll just show you this stuff and actually you can get a quick glance at their stats. But they're basically opening with buffs and with basically not using debuffs. and I'll show you why as we dive in. Let's not start it on auto. Let's dive in. What I actually do is I'll break down what the heads do, these 4 starting heads. Let's explain it clearly so you can see what's happening as it's happening and why we're going to do the things we're going to do. I'll leave it on full auto then and point out stuff as it's happening and then explain what you could do better by taking it on manual, which is probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea while these are difficult fights. Let's start over here on the left, and over here we have the Head of Decay. This guy is actually, he's one of the worst ones, specifically because how he combos with this last head. Right, so the Head of Decay. Number 1, he does have a passive, which is pretty nasty. Whenever an enemy champion's healed, decrease their max HP by 15% up to 75% of their max HP. So very quickly, it's going to lower all your champions' max HP to 75%, which is kind of rough. He also takes 90% less damage from poisons and lowers the damage all heads take from AoE. This stuff is pretty common. Poisons are pretty bad for damaging heads in Hydra. AoE damage is also pretty bad as well. One fun thing, Lord Shazar, he has an AoE damage attack, but actually puts bombs on them. But the bombs do full damage. So it's like an AoE attack that works. So that's one sneaky little tip, is AoE bombs is actually a really good way of doing AoE damage. He basically cleanses his team, which can be super, super dangerous. So this is the first thing to watch out for, and this is why I have them started on auto without using debuffs turn 1, because he can come in, Speed of Decay, 4 turn cooldown, removes all debuffs from all heads, and then boosts their turn meter by 30%. So you definitely want to play around your debuffs around this ability coming off cooldown. Now, one kind of annoying thing is that he mostly does this on turn 1, but he can also decide to do Rotten Ward, which is a 5 turn cooldown. He'll actually just single target remove all debuffs from a single head, the one with the lowest HP. I think what triggers this is if its HP is dropped quite a bit, so sort of spread your damage somewhat evenly on turn 1, so that he'll do the AoE one and you can start debuffing. And then he puts a life barrier on them for 4 turns, which you cannot remove and you cannot steal. You'll see this in action. Life barrier is basically a big shield. It's just a really big shield. The fun thing is, when you break it, it does stun that head. So they actually lose a whole turn. They don't get cooldowns for that turn. So that's a very positive thing. This can be very dangerous, though, when we combo it with the Devour thing, which I'll talk about in a second. His final move, it's not that big of a deal. He attacks one of your champions, whoever has the lowest HP, puts a heal reduction debuff on them. It's not too bad. You can resist this, of course. You can cleanse this. Or, yeah, you can just, resurrect the champion. This isn't too bad, I think, at this normal difficulty. And when he's decapitated, it fixes the max HP stuff and heals you up as well, which is cool. So, yeah, what's dangerous about him is that it's kind of a hassle to manage this stuff around. And again, in particular with this last head. So we'll break that down when we get to it. Next guy's Head of Torment. This is a guy I recommend not attacking. Not attacking. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. So, what he does, the main thing he does that's bad, let's cover his passive first. Almighty Torment. When attacked by enemies not under Perfect Veil, puts a True Fear debuff on them for 1 turn. True Fear is exceptionally bad. You will have to take manual control for this if you don't have a cleanser. Like this team right now that I've got here, this team does not have a cleanser, so we're kind of screwed by this with this team. Yeah, True Fear, if it procs, which is a very high chance, it's 50% chance, I believe, you miss your turn and the ability you try to use goes on cooldown. So you need to basically use your A1s, use stuff without cooldowns when you do the True Fear so that you don't lose it. It can really screw you up. Again, he also takes no damage from poison. His 3-turn cooldown is Curse Storm. He attacks everyone, does more damage for each debuff you're under. You don't want to have too many debuffs on you, but that's straightforward enough. And then his A1 is he attacks one enemy, and he has a 50% chance to place a fear. And it cannot be blocked or resisted, so you're gonna get fears on you. Now, normal fear is not too bad. It will make you miss your turn, 50% chance to miss your turn, but it doesn't put your abilities on CD, so you can still try to use your abilities, your good abilities, and it's okay. But it's kind of random. Again, this is something either you have to cleanse off. It's obviously 50-50 whether it lands or not as well. It's random, kind of a pain in the ass. He also, after the first attacks all enemies under fear, True Fear, which does do quite a bit of damage. On normal, though, it's not that bad. So again, the main issue with him is you just don't want to attack him, basically. Ignore him if you can, because you don't want to get those True Fears. Now, of course, AoE is something you will have to do for AoE debuffs, and that can be kind of a pain, so yeah. The third guy, again, is really not that bad. The Head of Suffering. He's not too bad. His passive, I'm trying to be careful not to actually attack him. He actually increases the resist of all Hydra heads by 50. On normal, not too terrible, but on higher difficulties, you might need increased accuracy to get past them or build a lot of extra accuracy. Again, decreases poison damage, AoE damage, and also decreases skill set, scale, and enemy max HP. And they're also immune to a bunch of stuff too. Share Suffering, he'll attack one enemy, put a Pain Link debuff on them for 3 turns, and then give himself an extra turn. Again, this can be resisted, it can be cleansed, so this actually isn't too bad, but it basically just shares the damage you do to him to your champion. But you're not really going to attack him that much, so it doesn't really matter. Thirst for Pain is a 4-turn cooldown, puts ally protection buff on all heads except him, puts 30% reflect damage buff on him, and provokes a champion for 1 turn, whoever has the highest crit damage. Again, this can be resisted. You can use block debuffs to stop it. It's not terrible. You can put block buffs on the enemy team to stop this stuff going out. But again, this isn't too bad. Like, the ally protection, for the most part, it's not a huge deal. You can still just smack the head that has ally protection, and he'll just take some of the damage. Though it does reduce the damage. You prefer to block it, but it's not crazy. And then his final one, he does attack all enemies, but it's weakened for 2 turns. Can't be resisted, so no resisting this one. And weaken's pretty bad for increasing your damage taken. He won't place it on enemies with strengthen, and obviously he also can't place it if you've got block debuffs. So I'd say block debuffs is the easier thing to bring, but strengthen's also really good. I don't think we have... Yeah, we don't have any of that in this team, so you'll see it smack us. That's fine. And... yeah, again, decapitation effect. That stuff is fine, but you're not going to see it, I think, too much on normal. The last guy, the last guy that's really nasty is the head of Mischief. Now, one thing to note, this guy's very fast. He's very, very fast. And now he's Thieving Jaws. This is A1. He'll attack the enemy with the most buffs. Whichever of your champs has the most buffs, he steals all those buffs and half of the turn meter. So this is this is super bad, right? This is super bad. He can steal your buffs, right? You put increased speed on, you put block debuffs on, bam, he smacks you, he steals them. And again, he actually goes very fast, and he's also getting bonus turn meter, which is terrible. This also gets extra terrible when he's the person that eats your champion, which is really bad. And the person who gets eaten is eaten by the head that goes next, and he's fast, so he often eats them, and it's bad. A2... Spoils of Mischief, 3-turn cooldown. He puts a buff spread effect, takes all the buffs from him, and shares them to all the heads, and makes them last for 2 turns. You need block debuffs to deal with this. I've got Ugo here, who puts AoE block debuffs. So you need to time, manually, your block debuffs to go on the enemy heads before he does this Spoils of Mischief. And then he'll waste a turn, which is great for you. But again, if you have like counterattack on your champions or block debuffs or increased defense, strengthen, and he steals all those, increased speed and counterattack are the worst ones. But if he steals the block debuffs, if he steals those and he spreads them onto the enemy heads, you're in for a bad time. I tried to use Skull Crusher, who's a counterattack champion. Not a good idea. Counterattacking heads is very bad, very fast. And then the thing that makes him actually the worst, that's just bad, but this is what makes him exceptionally dangerous and probably wipe most of your runs. He has a 75% chance of redirecting enemy attacks onto a random head. Doesn't occur if he's under a Hex. I found it's quite difficult to get Hex champions in. They're pretty much squishy. I haven't summoned Vildrax yet because I'm waiting for a champion chase tournament. And I don't even know if Vildrax will be that good. But this is a problem. This is a problem. All your single target damage won't hit. Your AoE damage will hit, but again, all these Hydras are reducing AoE damage, so it actually becomes quite difficult to damage him. And this is where things can get very sketchy, because if he is the person that eats your champion, you have, how long is it? You have 5 turns to break through this new health bar that will appear, or else your champion will be digested and will be removed from the battle. They'll be gone. They're gone. And again, he moves so quickly, he'll burn through those turns very fast. You'll be trying to hit him with single target attacks if you don't have Hex, and you won't be able to hit him, and it's going to screw you up. Let's actually, let's attack him. Let's hit auto. Let's hit him maybe a couple of times. There we go. Let's hit this guy a couple of times. Let's have it run through, and you'll see what's happening. Another thing that will wipe you very quickly is if the head of Decay puts a life barrier on a head that's just eaten one of your champions. That's also very bad. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen here. This is unfortunate. So he did his Rotten Ward, so I'd probably restart at this point, but we're just going to go for it. The issue here being that we're actually going to attack him. The issue being that now he can remove AoE debuffs, which sucks. But there we go. You could actually see right there, if I take it off auto, Ugo put block debuffs AoE in. He just tried to spread all the buffs. So although he has increased speed, increased defense, we stopped it from being spread in AoE, which is nice. Again, we have our good friend here. Our very, very good friend, Lord Shazar, has put bombs on them all, which is nice. I am actually going to have... Akoth does an AoE HP burn. I'm actually going to have him just single target attack because I want that burn to go on, and he's about to just remove everything from everyone. So I'm going to have him just smack this guy. Punch. There we go. And let's hit auto. Let's click him. We want to focus him and try break this to delay his cleansing and stuff like that. Decrease speed on these heads is extremely good. You can decrease their speed, as you could see, and that's a huge deal. That is an absolutely huge deal. Okay, look, so he's cleansed all their debuffs. And you can see this guy, he's going ham, stealing stuff. Again, this is pretty nasty. Hopefully her turn will come around and she can block these. We don't want to give increased speed. I guess the block debuffs will fall off, but we don't really want to give increased speed. Let's hit this and have them again targeting the head. So I think targeting the heads is very important. We're going to want, so your number one priority is always going to be to target the head that's eaten one of your champions. Then I do like to try break this shield. And then it's sort of, it's up to you. I like to attack this guy to get his HP low because he always shields the lowest HP person. And cool, here we go. So they're burning, which is good. We'll easily break this. Okay, good. He's stunned. We could do whatever we want now. I think I'll still keep attacking him. That'll be fine. Okay, he's gone unkillable. But yeah, we'll just sort of let this run through and we'll see how stuff is going. But yeah, again, things that will wipe you. When someone eats the head and then if they eat one of your champions. Okay, here we go. We've eaten him. Now, this is kind of rough, right? So look at this, right? We've got 5 turns to break him free, but 75% of attacks are going to be redirected, which is kind of a nightmare. Unfortunately, it's kind of a nightmare. So what do we do? It's hard to say. And in 3 turns, he could easily come in and put a big shield on this guy. But yeah, we've got to break this health bar. Let's try it. So we're going to click him. We're going to have our team auto-target. HP burn would be big. If we have the HP burn up, that would be huge. There it is. Okay, and it landed, which is good. Okay, good. We got decreased speed. That's also good. That will buy us time. There's a redirect. He made Altan attack that head instead. And it's random. One of the super nasty things is if he redirects you to hit the head, that puts on fears. Right? If he redirects you and you start getting true fears on people, you're crying. You're not okay, so right here, for example, we got true fears on people. We smash the thing, and our person comes free. He's dead, but he's free, so that's good. So yeah, we could smack this one. Bonk. Smack you. He resisted. Fine. You, fear on. True fear. That sucks. Her. Let's actually use this ability, which is kind of terrible. He's got block debuffs. I'm kind of scared. I'm going to have her do this. I'd even maybe turn that off. That one, basically that A3, it swaps health with the person, and it puts out like a couple of continuous heals, and it puts out block damage. If this guy gets those continuous heals and block damage, it's gonna ruin your day pretty fast. Ugo, again, you are feared, so you can just smack him. You actually got the hit off. That's nice. Again, I like to do not hit this guy because he can redirect you onto the fear, which is bad. And let's get our resurrect up here. And ouchies. Okay, they're cleansed. We could probably hit auto again. Don't hit that one. Let's actually hit this guy. We don't want to hit him because he's got block damage on right now. He's about to possibly spread some debuffs. I don't think he'll try to spread ally protect. I think he'll try to steal our stuff. See, we do get some weak hits. We got a lot of blue champs on this team. Oh, he's dead again. Ugo's brew for heals. Okay, so he's put a shield on himself. Again, this is nice. If we manage to break this, which we hopefully will, with the HP burn will really help. Whenever they take a turn. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. So this is where things can fall apart, where he's got a shield on him, but we really want to prioritize this. Hopefully the HP burns will be enough, but this is pretty spooky. We got one dead person, and our reviver has been eaten. So this is very bad. All we can do is attempt to hit him. Redirected. Okay. He could go for this pyretic release. He could be feared. I'm going for it. Got away with it. That's good. He gets true feared again, though, which is unfortunate. And she got randomed into hitting the fear guy. So this is where things get bad. I almost wonder if bringing Hex might be the go-to play simply for that. I'm going to have her AoE, hopefully get decreased speed. There we go. That will help. We have another death, which is obviously not good, though he's done his job putting out the burns. But we're going to be, looks like, probably short on damage. We're actually close to smashing this as well. But it's not looking great. It's not looking great. We could do her AoE. I guess I probably will. Bam. Can proc War Master, which is also useful. Come on. Yes. Okay, good. Whew, Sill's back. Good. We maybe even can smash this too. The team is flopping over dead. Okay, Sil, smack him. So we're in a rough way right now. We'll just leave this on auto. We'll see, can we come back for this, or are we screwed? We might be screwed. And luckily when she dies, she does good stuff. We shall see. Okay, so he got fully healed, so that's kind of not good. But I think we want to keep attacking him anyway. She's been taunted to hit him. Reflect damage is bad. But you can see how this could be bad if he steals this. Luckily block debuff, so we're fine. But yeah, we're taking manual might be important. But yeah, you're sort of getting an idea for how this goes and those sort of danger points. Ooh, okay, like right now, this run is over. I would abandon this run. Look at this. So what's happened? So he's put the shield on the guy who just ate our person. We're already low on members. And this is the guy that True fears, so we're going to try kill him and there's True fears. I'll show you what this is going to look like. It's not going to look good. It's basically what's going to happen. It's not going to look good. So yeah, this is how your run can sort of fall apart. There is that randomness to it. So I'd rerun this. I actually did a test run before recording, and I did the 6.6 million. So it just show you how things can go bad real fast. Like, we're not going to come close to Smash unless he does some crazy damage, but he's the wrong affinity, and he probably doesn't have his cooldowns. Let's see. Do you have your cooldowns? Probably not. He does not have his cooldowns. He's going to get True feared. Yeah, so we're in bits here. This is bad. But there you go. There are some tips for the Hydra. And someone else has been eaten, and there's only 2 turns left. So this is where you go, let's get out of here. Free regroup. Yeah, that didn't work well. Let's attempt that again. But yeah, hopefully some tips for the Hydra. Let me quickly show you. I'll briefly mention the other 2 heads, though you probably hope they don't show up. So we've got the Head of Blight. This guy does poisons. So he does AoE attack, which will put poisons, 5% poison for 2 turns, and has a chance to put a leech debuff. Pretty nasty. Then with a cooldown, he's got Leeching Blight, which will attack all enemies, put poison, and then instantly explode all poisons from anyone under a leech. This will just nuke your team. This is very nasty. You're definitely going to want block debuffs for this, or cleansing, something to stop this happening, or lots of resistance. I think resistance is going to be the easiest way to mostly deal with this boss, and some light cleansing. Blinding Smog, then, this is also terrible. Poison Cloud buff on all Hydra heads. This makes all of your hits against those targets weak hits. What do weak hits do? Well, number 1, you hit weakly, but more importantly, it prevents you landing any debuffs, which is exceptionally bad. Exceptionally bad. So the only way to deal with this is HP burn. You put HP burn on, and it stops the poison cloud doing anything. So again, to deal with this, you're going to need HP burn, preferably AoE HP burn. This is another classic way to wipe your team here. Though again, you're going to be pretty far in for this head to show up. Yeah, you know, basically, the head eats your champion, especially if the head eats your HP burn champion, then it gets Poison Cloud puts on it, and you're like, okay, well, they got Poison Cloud, all my hits are weak hits now for 2 turns, and my HP burner's been eaten, so that's bad. So yeah, that's pretty dangerous. This guy does take more damage from HP burn, though, double, which does help somewhat. Then the last one is Head of Wrath, so he just attacks everyone and can decrease attack. That's not too bad. The worst thing is that every time you hit him, he increases a vengeance counter by 1 when it reaches 15. So after he's hit 15 times, and that counts. Like if you have, like Shazar does a triple hit A1, every hit builds up this counter. When he hits max counter, he does a big attack on everyone, which is super nasty. He gets block debuffs. I think vengeance makes him do like double or triple or quadruple damage. Like he hits super hard, absolutely smacks everyone, and then he has it again for his next turn. He has Furious Roar, which is an AoE that provokes. Again, you preferably want to resist this. He increases his own attack. You preferably want to remove this or block debuffs on it. And yeah, so that gives you the sort of idea there as to what's happening. But hopefully you probably won't see too much of these guys. You're mostly going to see these heads in the lower difficulties. To show you my champions really fast, so let me try to remember who they all are here, just so you get an idea of where they are at. And was he in? No, I don't think he was in. He was on a different team, I think. So Sil was in. So Sil's in a stun set. She's built pretty well, lots of HP defense. She's built very solid. Again, our resistance is all kind of low, so we might try get a resistance lead. And right now she's in like a stun set Masteries. So again, I might switch that up. I do think that having War Master is going to be pretty good, especially for AoE skills. So for now, for example, her Wing Beat Flurry is pretty useless because I'd rather have her just placing a decreased speed. It's only a 40% chance, but decreased speed on those bosses makes them take less turns. It's a huge deal. Altan was in there. So Altan's in sort of a bit of a mishmash. gear right now. Again, he's got good defense and that, good speed. His crit damage is pretty low. He's got accuracy, so he's fine. And he's in pretty standard damagey masteries. Who else was in there? We had Shazar was in there. He's in Helm Smasher, which I don't know if it's the right choice or not. He's got some stuff. He's really built for PvP. He is booked, by the way. He is booked, and he's in Swift Parry and Perception. And he's got solid attack, good speed, okay crit damage, okay accuracy. He's okay. Again, I feel like none of these builds are crazy. You can see Altan is not booked at all yet. I probably will book Altan when I can. Is there anyone else I used here? No, I don't think so. I'll double check then at the end as well if I've shown you everything correctly. We had some underlevel people in there as well, didn't we? We did. We had Ugo. Ugo is almost booked up, missing one buck here. Ugo is in full perception, and Ugo is very lots of HP, good bit of defense, very fast, very accurate, and that's it. Again, I'd be looking probably to up the accuracy, the resistance of a lot of these champions to make them work. I've been working on Akoth today. He's level 33. He's in resistance. He's in, again, forge gear. Good health. His defense is lower. That's obviously going to go up as I roll his gear up. His crit rate's going to go up as I roll it up. I've actually, as you can see, because I've been building him today, I've changed a bit of his gear already to try get him more resistance so he can resist those debuffs, which I think would be big for him. One of the issues with him is that he has 2 AoE attacks. So, like, I think he does Pyretic Release first by default, which is real bad because he does this AoE. He gets True Fear because he's not under Veil. Then he tries to do his HP burn, which is the thing that matters. And then he gets True Fear and doesn't cast it. So you need to make sure he does the burn first. Then he can miss Pyretic Release with True Fear, or you can manual it. But yeah, he's built like that. And Cybele, she's in stun set, so I'd probably rebuild her completely. She's medium tanky, medium speed. Yeah, she's not great, to be honest. I brought her in because she has a good speed aura, and she has AoE decreased speed, which is pretty good. Again, she gets so much better when she's booked to be 50% of decreased speed. I actually don't have many champions on my account that can do decreased speed, and I feel like decreased speed, along with block buffs, are probably the 2 key debuffs, and decreased attack is pretty good too, but they're probably the key debuffs to put on enemies. So that gives you an idea. And again, with her masteries are a little bit sketchy there, and so are his. And Ugo is kind of mostly done. I respect Ugo. But yeah, it gives you a bit of an idea. Hopefully that was helpful. There's some tips in there that were useful, and you see some of how it works. It was unfortunate that our run fell apart, but I guess it was also kind of useful that you got to see it fall apart. So this team, that went pretty badly. Like I said, on a lucky run, this team was capable of doing a 1 key. And obviously when you roll this stuff up, and when I level these guys up and things like that, it will get better as well. Like in particular, he has a resistance banner. So when I crank this bad boy up, that's an extra 30 resistance. That's going to help him to resist these more often. He'll go up to like 275 then. So that will help for sure. I could probably glyph some stuff as well, or find him. It's kind of glyphed already. Yeah, we could glyph this more. You get the idea. Thank you for watching though, everyone. This is, a new channel. So please like, comment, subscribe, all the rest. That will help. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.